What is ITIL 4? Yeah, let's bring it up to date now, because we've been through a little bit of the history of ITIL 1, 2 and 3. ITIL 4 is the current, if you like, version, reference point, whatever term you want to use for the current guidance for IT service management, ITIL 4. Okay, so let's lift the lid a little bit, because like every ITIL version before it, it has a structure, it's flexible in its approach, and more so in ITIL 4, there's this again growing recognition of IT being a partner of those businesses that rely on its IT services. So moving away from maybe in the past a sort of an arm's length, where we have an SLA and, as long as we're meeting the SLA, that's great, that's fine, to being actually, let's focus not just on the SLA, but how can we work together to better understand how IT can support what's important for you. So are we getting the best possible value from the IT services we provide? Okay, so ultimately, we can expand ITIL, as we said, in terms of those components, but one of the key selling points is think of ITIL 4 now as applicable to the IT organization. Yeah, it's not something the service guys do. It's not the guys who are in the service desk or in service operations, those that work in service management as maybe service managers or problem managers, incident managers, change managers. It applies to the whole organization. And ITIL 4 recognizes that, ITIL isn't just an island on its own. Yeah, many organizations embrace lots of other IT best practices that are appropriate for certain aspects of what they do. Some of these you may well have come across or certainly heard of. So, Agile and DevOps, if there's a sort of in-house development, application development capability. Things like Lean and Six Sigma, which are very much around looking at what we do, how we do it, can we make it more efficient? Things like COBIT, which are interested in sort of looking at sort of controls and aspects of how we can manage risk across a lot of our IT ways of working. Things like SIAM, Service Integration and Management, how increasingly now we perhaps manage lots of multiple suppliers, maybe lots of smaller suppliers than perhaps traditionally in the past, but how's incident management going to work? How's problem management going to work, etc., across multiple suppliers? So these other best practices, it actually embraces, so ITIL is sort of complementary to other ways of working, other best practices in your organization. Look at the structure stroke framework. So key to ITIL 4 is what it refers to as the ITIL service value system. So whether you call it a framework, whether you call it a system, whether you call it a structure, in essence, ITIL 4 says for any organization, big or small, that delivers IT services to any consumer in any industry, yeah, it needs to have these 5 key sort of components, yeah, in the organization to underpin and enable success. We'll look at the guiding principles briefly later, but ways of working, yeah, guiding principles, not standards or rules or policies, but how do we want to actually approach work in an ITIL 4 sort of environment? So some guidance on how we want practitioners to think about how they go about the work that they do. Governance. Yeah, governance is really important for any organization, big or small. Yeah, for any organization, whether you're IT or not IT. Governance is about providing direction, for providing control to make sure as an organization we do the right things the right way all the time. Yeah, it covers understanding where maybe we don't through things like audit. It looks at enforcing and ensuring certain things are done the right way consistently through things like policies and controls. And of course, governance is also interested in things that could potentially impact the organization and or its business consumers, yeah, by looking at things like risk. Okay, so that sort of governance, risk, compliance arena, really important. And ITIL recognises that this is really essential for any IT organisation to consistently do what it needs to do, to consistently, do the right things the right way at all times. Then governance is really important. So quite a lot of emphasis in the detail of ITIL 4 around things like risk management and audit, and things like information security, IT service continuity, the policies and controls that allow us to manage and deliver our services ultimately without maybe having significant impact to not only our organisation but our consumers who rely on what we do. Practices. Well, practices is open bracket, people, process, and tools, close bracket. So how do we actually do the work? What are the skills we need? What's the insight? What's the experience we need from our people? What are the processes that we follow? What are the procedures, our ways of working that we follow to be consistent in what we do? And what are the tools that we utilize to help us be more efficient, become more optimized? And so within ITIL 4, there are 34 practices. So we don't go through those in any detail at all. Don't have time for that. Most of the bedfellows you probably recognize in your own organization, things like incident management, problem management, change management or change enablement, as it's referred to in ITIL 4, things like availability management, service continuity management, service request management, capacity and performance management, and so on and so forth. But also reflects practices and ways of working that are applicable across the wider IT organisation. So things like service design, project management, business analysis. Just to name some that for a lot of organisations, are probably things we rely on before we even deliver IT services. So, things that are important to get right at the very beginning, and we start to think about how best to deliver new or enhanced services, then we've got practices that cover, you say, that whole IT organization's sort of, if like, ways of working. And then finally, continual improvement, which is applied to anything and everything that we do. So in an ITIL world, if you're doing stuff, then it must be of value to somebody somewhere. If it isn't, you've got to really question why you're doing it. And if it is of value, then it can be improved. So continual improvement is very much in ITIL 4, something that's expected to be performed by everybody, no matter what their role is, no matter what team they work for. If you're in IT, then continual improvement, it's not an opt-in, it's not an opt-out, it's expected to be part of your job description. And if we engage suppliers, who provide third-party services into us, which we then leverage and build upon to deliver our services, then we want our suppliers to also embrace continual improvement. And again, you would do that through a contract. Okay, so continual improvement has a very significant prominence in how we do what we do, how we approach the work in ITIL 4. And at the core is this thing called the service value chain, which when expanded is the operating model. So what are the key activities that we undertake to create, deliver new or enhanced services? And this sort of opportunity, demand, this value, how do we get from left to right? If we deliver value through our products and services, how do we move from left to right to deliver those products and services that enable the business to do what they need to do to be successful, that add that value to them because they can do things which without those services they couldn't do or couldn't do as well. The service value chain outlines, if you like, the path, the route we take, the activities that we need to do to make sure that we do deliver high quality, consistent products and services that add real value ongoingly to the business. Okay, so that's the, if you like, the overall, I say, framework, structure, components, whatever term you want to use, but what we need to have in place. And ITIL talks a lot in the different courses and publications about all aspects of those 5 components.